Have you heard about this movement happening in the gaming world that could save you tons of cash and keep your favorite games from shutting down?
Wait, what?
This could keep all your treasured in-app purchases from disappearing, so stick around for today's video and watch till the end. Now, let's dive into the story.
Sicily, 1912. Picture this.
What if I tell you Fortnite, League of Legends, or your favorite online game will shut down tomorrow? No, really, just imagine it. You're going to have your last match today, and tomorrow, all the skins, emotes, and heroes that you bought throughout the years will be gone forever. It sucks, right?
Stop! He's already dead!
So that's what the initiative Stop Killing Games is trying to tackle. Let's just call it SKG for short. SKG is throwing a big red flag on online games with those super tempting in-app purchases for cool outfits and additional contents. The issue? When the game's publisher decides to call it quits, poof! Your game and digital items disappears into thin air along with your virtual cash, never to be seen again. It's like chucking your wallet into a big black hole. The movement was started by Ross Scott, a content creator primarily known for his series Freeman's Mind. When it was started, the initiative primarily targets the game The Crew, which at that time was recently shut down and delisted by its publisher Ubisoft. If you're unfamiliar, The Crew is an online-only racing video game that costs around $60 at the time of its launch. Even though it was marketed as an online-only video game, it still has a 20-hour-long single-player campaign which to some should have been remain accessible to players after the shutdown of online services.
Of course!
In my opinion, there's no reason for a game to become fully unplayable if a game has a single-player content that does not rely to any online elements. And even if there is, just create a final version of that campaign and make sure that it will be accessible offline. Online services being shut down isn't entirely new in the gaming industry. Game franchises such as WWE 2K and NBA 2K series launch new iterations of the same game every year with the expectations that the online services for previous versions will soon be discontinued. This strategy of course encourages players to buy the latest edition of the game as soon as they are available. However, add microtransactions and in-app purchases into the mix and suddenly things are not as simple as they used to be. Once online services ends, your in-app purchases should still be there for offline features only. Now, neither of these scenarios makes the game unplayable. Instead, they simply remove certain features from the experience. This is not true for The Crew, which if I remind you is a $60 game with a single-player mode that in theory can be made available offline. I wasn't able to find any explanation from Ubisoft to why they can't make this possible, but if you know an article, an interview, or an official statement from them, please share them in the comment section and I'll include this on a later video. When Ubisoft announced the then upcoming shutdown of The Crew, it cited upcoming server infrastructures and licensure constraints as the key reasons. While they didn't offer any additional details aside from this, we can only assume that it means is that they're ready to move on and focus on upcoming games.
Why did they do that to us?
While these reasons may or may not apply to The Crew, there are additional factors that can lead to the closure of an online service. For example, decrease in player population, increasing cost of server maintenance, technology or infrastructure limitations, and legal issues. Regardless of the reason, publishers and everyone involved in the game should maintain transparency with their player base especially since it is the players who have supported their product throughout its existence.
Hell yeah!
Throughout the video, our main example has been Ubisoft's The Crew. This is because it's the game that literally started the SKG movement. In fact, after the shutdown, two players who snagged physical copies of the game went all courtroom drama on Ubisoft. They hit the company with a class action lawsuit claiming they were misled into thinking their purchase was for the ownership of the game and not just temporary licenses. Plus, they argued that those physical copies were just keys to unlock the DRM and does not contain the actual game files. Meanwhile, on the week of its shutdown, Ross Scott expressed opposition in closing down The Crew, started the SKG Movement online petition, and encouraged players to file a complaint with France's General Directorate of Competition, Consumption, and Repression of Frauds.
That was a lot of words.
The movement has become an active ballot within the European Citizen Initiative, which means that if it reaches 1 million signatures, the European Union will consider to pass an associated legislation. The movement quickly garnered 200,000 signatures, and on July 3, 2025, it finally reached its target goal. The SKG movement quickly gained support from influencers such as Moist Critical, XQC, Asmongold, and PewDiePie. However, there were also a few who criticized the movement, such as argues that the movement can become a deterrent to gaming studios in creating more live service games and for having vague wordings that seemingly requires all live service games to remain playable, which is unrealistic. Another detractor of the movement is Video Games Europe, a trade association that represents developers and publishers within the EU. They pointed out that it would be expensive for developers and publishers to provide private servers or single-player modes for games that lose online multiplayer support. Additionally, they highlighted that fan-supported games and servers could pose legal risk for these companies. One of the key solutions mentioned in the SKG movement's FAQ page is to let customers privately host the game on their servers. Scott admitted that this fix might not be a one-size-fits-all for every game, but is crossing his fingers that this movement will inspire game developers to think about end-of-life plans right from the get-go. Another key proposal of this movement is to mandate the publishers to create a comprehensive end-of-life plan when they decide to cease support for a game. Scott listed real-world scenarios where publishers ended support responsibly, and this includes Sony's Gran Turismo Sport and Capcom's Mega Man X Live, which shifted to an offline-only experience following its shutdown. This also includes Knockout City, although now unplayable, now provides a private server edition for PC, enabling players to host their own games. While the initiative primarily focuses on players located in the EU, it is possible that any changes done associated to this movement will be implemented worldwide. For those who are interested and want to show your support, I'll be sharing the EU petition page on the video's description, and don't forget to read the petition's FAQ page for more information. As someone who buys the occasional battle pass and in-game skins, I sometimes cringe at the thought of all my cash just swirling down the drain one day. I'm totally with Scott on this. Game creators should definitely have some kind of plan for when live services wrap up, especially since our wallets are their main source of funds. Just referring to the end user's license agreement and basically saying,
You didn't see that coming?
is kind of a dick move. To be honest, I've never been a fan of any Ubisoft games, and because of this, I don't think I'll be a fan of any of their games anytime soon.
That sounds overly dramatic.
Now, what do you think of SKG, and do you agree or disagree with it? Make sure your voice is heard by sharing your thoughts in the comment section, and while you're here, press the like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And of course, ring that notification bell so that you won't miss any of my future videos. Thanks for watching, keep gaming, and stay awesome.